show you what I've marked as, so I guess I'm now on 108, right?
Yes.
8. Give me a second. 8. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 108 and 109. Do you recognize this photograph?
I do.
Okay. Does it fairly and accurately depict where these vehicles were staged?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And okay. So in Defendant's Exhibit 108, can we see the location of the black F-150? And I'm sorry, what was this one called again?
A Chevy Traverse.
A Chevy Traverse. Do we see the locations of those two vehicles?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And in Defendant's Exhibit 109, do we see both of those or just one vehicle?
Just the one, the Chevy Traverse.
Okay. And Judge, at this time, I had attended Defendant's Exhibit 108 and 109 in the state and offered evidence.
Your Honor, at this time, state's objecting to these and also objection to state exhibit number 8 and 9, 108 and 19. And also an objection to, I believe that defense counsel is trying to present this individual as a crime scene recreation expert, and I don't believe he has any training in it.
May we approach, Judge?
All right. Step down.
Yes. If I leave this.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, this is outside the presence of the jury. All right, defense. Are you offering this witness as an expert?
Judge, I believe that,
Oh, you can remain seated.
well, whether or not he's offered as an expert judge, he is offered to show the estimate locations of these vehicles. I don't believe you have to be an expert to estimate the location and take photographs from those locations, but regardless if it's evident whether he is an expert or whether he's not an expert, it's any sort of event recreation, even if you want to call it that, which I'd be hesitant to, but if this is an event recreation, there's two steps to the predicate. Judge, it's number one, are these results helpful to the trier of fact in deciding any relevant
But who
issue?
is the question then? If you're saying, are these results relevant? Where are these results coming from? Because if it's just results, can you just take somebody off the street? Let me grab a school teacher and have a school teacher come in and say, this is a video. Will you go out to this scene and do measurements? How would that be any different than just taking a random person off
Well, Judge,
the street to come in and testify?
if he needs to be qualified as an expert, he can, and I believe he did it through his credentials, Judge.
Well, no, I'm trying to figure out if you are offering him as an expert. If you're not offering him as an expert, then I don't know how he can testify to results that he is determined without being an expert.
If for the admissibility of these, I need to offer him as an expert, I believe that he does qualify, and I'm willing to do that, Judge.
No, I'm not saying what you need to do and what admissibility is. I'm just saying, I don't understand how someone can be brought in to talk about results, but you're saying they're not an expert and you're not offering them as an expert. And I'm
Well-
just trying to find what legal point you're making, because I go back to, if he or she were just somebody you took from wherever, you see somebody walking down the street and you say, hey, could you come with me to where an alleged incident had to occur, presumed to have occurred. I want you to watch a video. You watch this video, can you take measurements? How would that be any different if that person is not an expert?
Well, Judge, I don't see how it's any different from any of the state's police officers that have come in and testified. This is results of an investigation. He has extensive experience as a licensed police officer doing investigative work. This is investigative work, and any of the state's witnesses, whether they were experts or not, were able to testify about the results of their investigation, Judge. So this is just an investigation.
Did you object to that? I mean, if you don't object to the state's witnesses, if they're giving expert opinion and there's no objection to it, there's nothing
Would-
for the court to rule upon.
And if the worry is that, Judge, he's not intending to offer any sort of expert opinion. There's no expert opinion where he's going to be saying, was this shot possible or impossible? If that's kind of what if that's their main.
I have no idea what the state's
He
main,
doesn't intend to give any sort of, I guess, expert based on whether this is going to be possible, impossible. It's just merely, Judge, it's to, number one, be helpful to the trier of fact in deciding any relevant issue. And number two, was this conducted under conditions similar to those existing at the time of the event in question? We're not talking about the lighting in any of this. So this is not used to show the jury, oh, look, this would have been so hard to see or anything like that. This is merely to show the positionings of the vehicles at those locations in the vehicle from the perspectives of the drivers and different perspectives around the church. So they have different perspective. Judge, that's essential to the defense to be able to rebut the state's theory of the case. And I feel like Tyler's due process violations, Tyler's due process would be violated if we were not able to get into this essential line of
but I mean, the
questioning.
question is whether or not you have this witness who's looking at some videos, then making a decision based upon a video that he may or may not have watched and information from your
He
client.
stated he watched the video. I don't know.
No,
why
what
that
I'm
was
saying
specific.
is, just a moment.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, you're offering this witness, it appears to the court, to give results on what somebody would have seen or could have seen based upon watching a video and based upon maybe what your client has told them. I don't know. But if you're bringing this witness in to make results, then, or give his opinion or opine on something, then the only people who are really allowed to give opinions and opine on things are experts. And it depends on what field they're an expert in. And then if there's an objection to their ability to present evidence as an expert, the court will hear it. So the first question is, One, if you're not offering him as an expert, then he is not allowed to give testimony on his opinion about what people would have saw or could have seen or should have seen, because that's expert testimony.
And he does not intend to give any of those opinions, Judge.
State?
My response to that would be, if he's not gonna give an opinion, then what he's already testified to is just purely conjecture and speculation, because he didn't take measurements. He's just testifying as to, the only person that can testify and the only state's witness that testified as to where the vehicle was located was the witnesses that were in the vehicle that would have known.
And Judge,
Detective Tudor can't come and say, oh, you can't see the video in any of the police car in any of the exhibits.
and Judge, this goes to the weight of the evidence, not the admissibility. If they have any issues or they think that any of these photographs are taken with inaccurate positions or have any issue with it whatsoever, they're entitled to cross-examine on it, not exclude it.
And Judge, just to put my uh, uh, say in here, one, there's been much testimony which we allowed some of the photos to come in that seemed, like different areas, like the camera, things like that. But then wording started coming in from the witness of staging vehicles. And staging vehicles indicates that he's recreating a crime scene. And he asked him, did you move it back? Did you move it forward? So that's the SUV where you watch the church video. And then now you're staging this car out in that location. If anything, it's going to could possibly mislead the trier of fact, because this individual that's not an expert is staging the vehicle at different locations and plus at different angles. We don't know for certain that these camera angles, and in fact, he testified the camera angle for the security camera is not accurate. He was standing below the security camera and the security camera is above him. So the angle is quite different. We didn't object to the camera photo coming in of the camera actual video of the surveillance video, because we felt like, hey, that's the video of the camera. But now when they're starting to say staging the vehicle, he's testifying as an expert when he's not qualified as the expert.
Oh, all right, so this is what we'll do. Because it does appear to the court that he's being offered as an expert if you're doing a recreation of where vehicles were alleged to have been. So if you'll take the witness stand, please, sir. And if someone wants to question him on what his expertise is and in what field it is in, then I can make a decision on whether or not more testimony is relevant or appropriate or admissible.
May I begin, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Otero, can you hear me?
I can, yes, sir.
Okay. How many years of investigative work experience do you have?
Mm. 9 to 10 years.
Okay. And you stated that you've worked on capital murders, correct?
That is correct.
I assume that as part of your investigation, can you describe like different methods of investigation that you have experience in?
Interviewing witnesses and reviewing discovery, going out to scenes and recovering footage available, taking my own pictures when necessary. Taking pictures of crime scenes.
Okay. And so you stated that part of that is going out to scenes.
That is correct.
Okay. And I assume when you go out to scenes, part of that is looking at conditions. Is that
Sure.
correct? Looking to see if, what conditions, what angles, what things would have looked like from the perspective of either suspects, victims, different individuals. Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
So you're gathering data. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
And now are you trying to present this like in favor of one side or the other? Are you trying to just do this to help the state or help the defense, or are you just gathering data?
Just gathering data.
Okay. And so have you ever engaged in any sort of like seen recreation before?
No, sir.
Okay, so would this be like the first one that you've ever attempted? Or would you even consider this?
No, I've done work like this in the past for other cases, but I'm never under the never under any type of certification process, or just doing the same thing that I did in this case, just with the variables applicable to that case.
Okay, when you say doing the same thing in this case, can you describe different instances where you've done something similar?
I just, the vehicle called, the case called for or the case had a situation where there was a vehicle involved. Using the evidence, the information provided in the evidence to, for lack of a better word, recreate where the vehicle was during those circumstances for the purpose of taking pictures from different angles, measurements, distances, things of that nature.
Okay, would that be to just provide different perspectives than what might be limited through the evidence?
That is correct.
All right, to see what other individuals who might have experienced these events, what it might have looked like through their eyes.
Yes.
Okay.
Or from different angles than what was provided in the story.
Okay. Now is going out to crime scenes, is that a commonplace, I guess, step in your process as an investigator?
If requested by the defense counsel, yes, which does happen fairly often.
Okay.
There's no like definitive steps that an investigator would take. And it's basically just at the request of what the defense attorney would like the investigator to investigate.
Okay. Do you intend on giving any expert opinions today?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you intend to give any opinions on whether shots may have been possible or impossible from different locations?
I wouldn't volunteer that information if I was asked. I would answer to the best of my ability, but I do not intend to provide that statement or statement.
Okay. So are you intending to say that these shots were possible or impossible? Either way, are you intending to give an expert opinion on whether you believe that these shots were possible?
No, I don't.
Do you believe that that what you intend to, do you believe that the results of your investigation would be helpful to assist a jury in this case?
Yes, I do.
And now, okay, so the investigation that you did in this case, where you're trying to attempt to look at the different locations of each vehicle when the first 3 shots are fired, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And measure the distances between the 3rd shot of that white SUV and where that police unit would have been, correct? Did you do
That
that?
is correct.
Okay. And you took videos as well?
Yes, sir.
Judge or past witness?
Hey, you're
Yes.
one, sir. Have you been trained in the field of criminal, like CSI, criminal investigation?
No, sir.
Have you been trained at all in recreation of a crime scene?
Direct an official capacity or licensing, no, sir. I mean, I've been taught by mentors but nothing nothing anything official.
So, other than you just going out to say a crime scene and, hey, somebody stole this pen. I saw it in a video. I place it there and you take a picture of it. Is that recreating a crime scene?
No, sir, that's documenting evidence.
Documented evidence. I mean, you go out to this crime scene in particular, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you have, how many, you took measurements, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What did you base your measurements on?
We used, I used a measuring device called a measuring wheel. It's a Lufkin measuring wheel, 12-inch diameter wheel. That as you basically just walk along, it's in your path, and as you roll this device down your surface, it has a little meter that calculates the distance as you walk this wheel from one point to another.
And of course, you don't know the scientific background of that device of how it works, correct?
No, sir, other
You don't know
than
if
what the manufacturer tells you the distance,
You don't know if it-
rotation and all that.
You don't know if it's calibrated correctly or anything like that.
No, sir.
You don't know how to calibrate it, do you?
No, sir. There, to my understanding, there's no way to.
And then also on top of that, did you use the sketch from the police officers, the actual CSI unit for their measurements?
No, sir.
So you didn't use no measurements that were actually made.
And just want to object that CSI said it's not to scale and it's only the locations of the shell casing. So it's not even relevant to the evidence that we're trying to get into.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can continue with your questions.
So you didn't use any type of measurements that were actually used by the SAPD for the investigation of this case?
No, sir.
And have you ever done any type of crime scene investigative work where you're recreating a crime scene using measurements from a San Antonio Police Department?
No, sir.
So to be fair, you've never recreated a crime scene as an expert.
As an expert.
So you're not an expert in crime scene investigation and recreation, are you?
No, sir.
You have not been formally trained.
No, sir.
And in this particular case, you're making all of these measurements and photographs that you're making on your best guess from the video and from police reports that you just read the police reports and also looked at the videos.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So it's your best guess. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes, Judge. Okay, Mr. Otero, that Lufkin measuring device, is that a device that's commonly used by law enforcement officers?
I wouldn't be able to say whether that particular brand or model is, but that type of device is.
Okay, so that same, okay. So whether that brand or model, but is it the same idea that it's can you describe what it is?
Sure. It's a easy to use distance measuring tool. Each pole rotation of the wheel is 3.14 feet. And it basically just has a little counter that tallies up feet and inches as you roll this from one point to another.
Okay, and now in your experience as a law enforcement officer, do police use similar devices to that to do crime scene measurements?
It depends on the department, but that type of device has been used by departments to measure distance.
Okay. Now, the measurements you did in this case, are those complex or are those simple?
It's a simple measurement from point A to point B.
Okay, do you believe that requires an expert to measure that?
Personally, I do not believe it requires an expert to measure a distance from point A to point B.
Okay. And when you estimated the location of the white SUV at the location of the third shot, do you believe that you actually gave the benefit to the state if there's any difference or to the defense?
I'm gonna object as to relevance and this proceeding as to whether he's an expert or not.
Well, Judge, their whole issue is that they don't think that this is accurate, and so if they don't think it's accurate in our favor, I'd surely like to know how.
It
No,
needs to be
so-
accurate, not one way or
So-
another.
What I can tell you is whether or not his results are accurate or not is irrelevant to whether or not he's an expert in whatever field he's being offered in. So this is what it appears to me, based upon the questioning by both party, this witness is not an expert. He's not an expert in crime scene recreation. Does anyone not agree to my determination that this witness is not an expert in crime recreation? Because
I do disagree, Judge. I would object.
Well, I mean, he said he's not an expert in crime recreation. What am I,
Well,
did he not say that?
And Judge, I would argue that in this case, you don't have to be an expert to. In this video, Detective Tudor has already agreed to the position that is essentially the same as what this witness is saying, and.
So
it's-
here's
it's
my
the same
question.
position,
Is he
Judge.
being offered as an expert?
It
Because the witness has, if I misheard, please correct me, we can go to the court reporter's record. The witness has said he's not an expert in crime scene recreation. Excuse me, are you an expert in crime scene recreation?
No, you don't.
All right, so he's not being offered as an expert in crime recreation. He can't be offered as an expert in crime scene recreation because he said he's not an expert in that. So what is he being offered as an expert? And if he is being offered as an expert, I would like to know what he's being offered as an expert. What field is he an expert in?
Okay, then Judge, then no, he is not being offered as an expert. However, he does not need to be an expert to testify to what we're going to testify to. The predicate for event recreation, and nowhere in here does it say that anyone has to be certified as an expert or be an expert. The predicate is only one. Are they results helpful to the trier of fact in deciding any relevant issue? The relevant issue in this case is whether Tyler could have seen or could have been attempting to shoot at police officers in this case.
So
If
doesn't that go then to his being an expert to make a determination of whether somebody can see from a specific distance or not?
I would say it's the jury's decision. Are these results helpful to the trier of fact? That's going to be the purview of the jury. He is merely providing photographs for the perspective of these vehicles.
Are you offering him as an expert in anything?
No, Judge.
All right, then this is a lay witness. Defense in state, you make your objections as you see, and the court will make a ruling on it. But defense, you're telling the court you're not offering him as an expert in anything.
That's correct, Judge, but I believe that the predicate for this event recreation, if we want to call it that, has been met. Are these results helpful to the trier of fact in deciding any relevant issue? Certainly, I could not see how this could be more relevant to want to see where the locations of these vehicles at the shots, what the perspectives of the different individuals could have been, what it looked like from those perspectives, and was this conducted under conditions similar to those existing at the time of the event in question? That's Brown v. State, 657 Southwest 2nd, 143, Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, 1983.
So your interpretation is that anyone from anywhere any layperson can just be taken in, asked to view a video, talk to somebody, give measurements, and then their testimony becomes relevant.
That's not my interpretation, Your Honor. He has extensive law enforcement experience, just the same as any of the state's witnesses in this case. The predicate does not require that he be an expert, and it's helpful to the trier of fact. And Judge, if I cannot get into this evidence, it would violate Tyler's due process rights and rights to effective representation of counsel.
Well, this is the court's ruling. Number one, he is not an expert. Both parties have agreed that he is not an expert. Is that correct, state?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Defense, is he an expert?
No, Judge.
So this is a lay witness. So since this is a lay witnesses are not allowed to opine on what they think specific evidence shows because they're a lay witness. Lay witnesses are allowed to testify to what they saw, what they heard. That's it. They're not allowed to get into what their opinion is because they're not experts. So this is a lay witness. Both sides agree this is a lay witness. So people will need to make their objections and the court will rule upon those objections. All right, let's bring the jury in.
All right, the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, so defense, you are offering defense exhibits 108 and 109 into evidence, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State, do you have any objections?
Yes, Your Honor, objection to, one, that this individual is not an expert in this field of, crime scene recreation, and also the relevancy if, not considered an expert.
All right, if I could see Defense Exhibits 108 and 109, please.
May I respond to their objection, Judge?
Yes, y'all can approach, but I need to see the exhibits so I can see exactly what the exhibits are.
Okay, your turn. And now, in Defendant's Exhibit 108, I know we've had a little bit of a break. Do we see two vehicles in this photo?
Yes, we do.
Okay, what vehicles do we see?
You see the Ford F-150 and the Chevy Traverse.
Okay, and now is this the location of the Chevy Traverse where that is parked? Is that the estimated, to the best of your ability, the estimated location where that white SUV was at the location of the third shot?
Your Honor, I'm just gonna object to, this individual testifying as an expert.
And
Right.
he's already answered this, Judge,
And that objection will be sustained.
and I'm not asking him to testify as an expert.
Judge, he's asking him to guesstimate where that vehicle was in comparison to the security video and a photo that was taken roughly 3 years after the incident during the daylight. And this individual is not an expert.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
You've watched the surveillance video,
Uh,
okay? And you've been out to the church multiple times, correct?
yes, sir.
Has the layout of that church changed at all, to your knowledge, since the time of the incident?
No, sir.
Okay. So defendant's exhibit 108. Where is that Chevy Traverse located?
Again, Your Honor, objection to the testimony of this individual testifying as an expert of the locations of these vehicles because no measurements were taken and he's not considered an expert.
And measurements were taken.
All right, with regards to your objection to this witness as an expert, that will be sustained.
And I'm not, I guess I'm not intending for him to offer any expert opinions, Judge.
All right,
As a lay witness, that would be speculation.
the objection is sustained.
May I publish these to the jury, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and defendant's exhibit 110 and 111. Recognize these photos,
I do.
okay? Do we see a Chevy Traverse in these photos?
Yes, you do.
Are these photos a fair and accurate depiction of what they contain?
Yes, they are.
Is the Chevy Traverse in the same location as defendant's exhibits 108 and 109?
Yes, it is.
And now, can you describe for us what you're holding in defendant's exhibit 111?
It is a Luckin measuring wheel. It's a measuring device used to measure distance greater than what a standard tape measure would offer.
Okay, so essentially with this device, are you able to put it on the ground and walk and it records distance between two objects?
That is correct.
Judge, at this time, I would tender defendant's exhibits 110 and 111 to the statement offered evidence.
Judge, objections to one, this individual is not an expert. Also to, if he's not an expert, considered a lay witness, as my co-counsel stated, speculation at that point,
And I'm gonna object.
and the relevancy at
I'm
that
gonna
point.
object to these speaking objections.
Those are all objections, valid objections, Your Honor.
All right, if parties can approach.
the same location as in the other defendant's exhibits that were just submitted right now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as defendant's exhibits 112, 113, and 114. You recognize these photos?
Yes, I do.
They fairly inaccurately contain, portray the contents of the photos.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Can you describe what's in these photos?
They are taken from within the Chevy Traverse, which is staged in place of the white Nissan Rogue.
Okay, and are these various perspectives as you would be looking from the, I guess, in the driver's position of the white Nissan Rogue?
That is correct.
Okay. Judge, at this point, I tender defendants exhibit 112, 113, and 114 in evidence.
Your Honor, same objections.
Okay,
Responses, Judge.
if I could see the exhibits, please. Let me see.
Can I publish them to the jury, Judge?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. I'm gonna show you what's been marked as defendants exhibit 119 and 120. You recognize these photographs?
I do.
Okay. Has the Chevy Traverse moved at all from the location in any of those other photographs?
No, it is not.
Now, did you kind of use me as a guinea pig in these photos?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so where am I seated in these photos?
You are seated in the driver seat of the Chevy Traverse.
And where is the location where you're taking these photos?
This is taken from the back seat, leaning towards the center of the vehicle.
Okay, so it's just a different perspective of the same photos. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. At this point, I tender defendants exhibit 119 and 120 to the state and offer evidence.
I'm sorry, that's Defense Exhibit 119 and 120.
Okay. Now in Defendant's Exhibit 118, you recognize this photograph.
I do.
Does it fairly and accurately depict what's in the photograph?
Yes, it does.
Once again, am I visible in this photograph?
Yes, you are.
Okay. And where are you taking this photograph from?
In the same position, back seat, rear, back seat, passenger, leaning towards the center of the vehicle.
Okay, what did you have me do in this photograph?
Extend your right hand.
Judge, I'm gonna object to this line of this line. He's recreating, he is not an expert in crime scene reconstruction. He's basing this on speculation as a lay witness and recreating the crime scene and trying to offer it in photos.
And Judge, the case law.
Excuse me, if you all can approach, please.
Yes, I did.
I'm gonna show you what's already been admitted into evidence as defendant's exhibit 78. Okay. You recognize this photograph?
I do.
Okay. Do we see the white SUV in this photo?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Can you describe the location of the white SUV in this still photograph?
I'm gonna object as to under 701, a lack of personal knowledge.
It's already in evidence, Judge.
All right, the objection will be sustained.
Okay. Now, did you also place the Chevy Traverse and as close to a position as possible as you see the white SUV in defendant's exhibit 78?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit. And we may be a little bit out of order here. 125, 126, 127, and 128. If you could just take a look at these and let me know if you recognize these photographs.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is the Chevy Traverse in these photographs at the location you just testified to that you attempted to place it, as we saw in that defendant's exhibit that we just discussed?
Yes, it is.
And that would be at the location of the estimated location of the first shot.
That is correct.
Judge, at this point, I tender defendant's exhibits 125 through 128 to the state and offer evidence.
Judge, at this time, the state would just object. The individual's not an expert and he's basing his opinion on the estimate.
Without personal knowledge.
In defendant's exhibit 78, is that white SUV between the two columns?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now there's a, if you're going north on O'Connor Road and turning left into the church, right? At some point on your left-hand side, there's going to be a curb line that goes up the hill. Is that fair to say?
That is correct.
And that curb line has a distinct point where it starts out. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
Okay, now in defendant's exhibit 78, is there a little bit of a gap between that white SUV and where that curb line begins?
And in this picture right here, you can see the front end of the vehicle, and you can also see the start of the curb line, and you can see a space,
Between them.
parking lot in between.
And now, did you use those factors in attempting to determine as accurately as possible where to stage the Chevy Traverse?
I did.
Okay. Judge, at this point, defense would reoffer defendant's exhibits 125 through 128.
Same objection, Your Honor.
All right, let's see the exhibits, please. And if you can approach.
All right, Mr. Otero. So you've described it in Defendant's Exhibit 78. This is more or less based on your review of the video, correct? You reviewed the video?
I did,
You reviewed it in detail?
yes, sir.
Okay. And now the first three, you're an initial burst of 3 shots on that video, correct?
That is correct.
And so in Defendant's Exhibit 78, the location of this vehicle, where's the estimated, or where is the location, or, sorry. This vehicle in Defendant's Exhibit 78 is approximately where in relation to those 3 shots?
This vehicle is positioned. This is a still of the vehicle from where we hear the first shot in the audio of this surveillance.
Okay. And in Defendant's Exhibit 78, you testified that there is there's a small gap that we can see between the white SUV and the start of that curb line, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so you position the Chevy Traverse in as close to as possible the location where you thought the position of the white SUV was in Defendant's Exhibit 78, correct?
Judge, I'm gonna object to this question. The defendant or this witness is not an expert in crime scene reconstruction. The opinions that he's testifying to are not based upon his personal knowledge as to the events that occurred, and so I am objecting under 701.
And Judge, may we approach, I guess?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Turner, I'm gonna show you what I marked as defendants exhibit 138. Do you recognize this?
I do.
Okay, is this an envelope with a USB in it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, does it have your signature on it?
That's my initial, yes, sir.
Your initials, indicating that you've reviewed the contents of this, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, now, in your investigation, did you also create some videos?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and in these videos, the location of the Ford F-150, where's that at?
It is parked along the curb of the church property, in the approximate position where the SAPD vehicle was.
Okay, in the same location as the photographs that this jury's seen.
That is correct.
Okay, and are you driving any vehicle in this video?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what vehicle are you driving?
The 2009 Chevy Traverse.
Okay. What did you use to take these videos?
I had a GoPro camera that was mounted to I believe, the hood of the vehicle that I was driving.
Okay, was that GoPro capable of making accurate reporting?
Yes, it is.
And did you take any other maybe like cell phone videos?
I believe there was a few videos or a couple of videos that were taken with my cell phone.
Okay, and were those just perspective videos of the two vehicles?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Judge, at this point, I would tender defendant's exhibit 138 to the state and offer.
Judge, if we could just
Yeah.
have some time to view it.
Yeah, Judge, say would ask to be able to view this outside the presence of the jury.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a recess. And I will have you brought back in. Please remember my previous instructions to you. Everyone, please rise for the jurors.
Ayla has been here for about a year
Mhm.
and Janelle.
Welcome.
That was-
I always say
it's the usual-
that you guys are
got something.
overworked and underpaid. If I could make sure that you all are paid the money that you deserve, I would.
Pretty good.
Of course, I do my part by writing letters to people, but I think they just go, what do they used to call them in school? The trash can, what was it called? File something. I forget the number they used to call
I
it.
like that.
But welcome. You're always welcome to come in and if you have to do home visits, that's me. I'm always like, do a field visit. Let's see what's going on. But if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate. So you guys enjoying it so far? All right, so 15 years from now, I should see the same smiles. If I'm, Bashan, as I'm lying near a swimming pool, even though I can't swim, or on a beach, even though I can't swim, just send me photos. And I'll be like, oh, hi. But welcome, congratulations. And seriously, if you need anything, just let us know.
Okay.
All right. You're welcome.
Oh, that is.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, has everything been redacted?
Yes.
Let's bring the jurors in.
Judge, if you could, I'm sorry, just offering this one thing, so.
All right, you can go ahead and do that, but line the jurors up.
And should I reoffer it, or is it just that, would they come back in and we'll just say it's admitted?
Oh, no, you can, because they don't know what was on 138, you can just offer in 138, and then if you have a 138 that you want to go up with the record that you're offering for your proffer.
I did that as O 138. O
Okay.
dash 138.
Okay,
If that's fine.
yes.
That's what you told me. I don't mean.
You ready?
All right, for the jury?
All right, everyone, please be seated. And Vince is still your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. This time, defense offers defendants exhibit 138 in evidence.
All right, and state your previous objections are noted.
Yes, Judge.
All right, states exhibit 138 will be admitted. I'm sorry, defense exhibits 138 will be admitted.
Okay, may I publish to the jury,
Yes.
Judge? All right, Mr. O'Carroll, you took that video?
Yes, I do.
Okay, with the GoPro,
That is correct.
and that was on the Chevy Traverse?
That is correct.
And now at the beginning of the video, we see you drive around the parking lot a little bit.
Correct. I was basically just turning the vehicle around so I could exit the property.
Okay, but does that part of the video get us a little bit, give us a little bit better perspective on the nature of the parking?
Show the size of the parking lot.
Okay. And so, the next thing you do on that video is you actually turn right onto O'Connor Road out of the church parking lot, correct?
Correct.
Which means you'll be going south, right?
Yes.
And then you find a place to basically do a U-turn, correct?
Yes. Making an improper U-turn in the street.
And so then you turn back left onto O'Connor, so you can be going north, correct?
That's correct.
And then you make a left into the CT Calvary Temple Assembly of God Church, right?
Yes.
And then you accelerate and go through the same route that we see the white SUV going in that church surveillance video. Is that more or less fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then you pass it up and you go through that little artery that's in the back of the church back onto Viewcrest.
That's correct.
And now, do you know what an event data recorder is?
I do.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury what that is?
An event data recorder is a component of a vehicle's computer system, which is meant to record data in the event of a crash or an impact or any other anomaly or event that the recorder deems necessary or deems prudent to capture information. Sorry.
Okay. What kind of information is captured on an event data recorder?
If there's any impacts to the vehicle or any damage structure to the vehicle, it will record where that was located, which sensors were triggered. It will record any anomalies in acceleration and braking. And in some cases, it will even record the GPS coordinates of the vehicle in motion.
Okay. So in some circumstances, it would record the GPS coordinates and
Depending on the make and model and manufacturer, yes.
okay. And now, and so that data can be extracted from vehicles, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So how is that extracted from vehicles?
It requires a specific tool that you plug into the onboard port, and usually below the vehicle's dash, and then use that tool to access and retrieve that information.
Okay. Did you have a device that you attempted to extract the vehicle's event data recorder information on?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What kind of device is that?
It's the manufacturer is Bosch CDR, that's crash data retrieval tool, and attempted to use that to retrieve the data from the vehicle.
Okay. Were you able to?
No, sir.
Why not?
The first time we attempted to extract the data, we needed the keys of the vehicle to put the vehicle into the accessory mode prior to actually turning over on the ignition, so that we could get the computer to fire up so we could connect to it.
Okay. Did the detective or the police have the key to that vehicle when we went the first time?
No, there was no vehicle. There was no key to the vehicle.
Okay. And then were we able to obtain a spare key?
We did obtain a spare key.
Okay. And then did we try again?
We did try again.
Okay. What were the results of that second attempt?
We were not able to get the vehicle to recognize the key, and the car battery had been dead for an undetermined amount of time. And with the jump, once we jumped the vehicle, the time frame in which the car had been dead had caused the pairing, I guess, for lack of a better term, with the key to the vehicle to not exist anymore.
Okay.
So we weren't able to get the key fob to respond to the vehicle.
Essentially, it was deprogrammed from the vehicle and wouldn't recognize it.
That's correct.
And there was no way to like insert a key anywhere, was there?
No, it was just a push to start a vehicle. The fob just is within proximity of the steering column.
Okay. So there was no like physical metal key that could be inserted anywhere.
That's correct.
Okay, so did we have to rely on that sensor to connect before we could try to put it in the state that it needed to be before you could get that data?
That's correct.
Okay. And can you describe the state of that white Nissan Rogue when we were able to view it at the pound?
The interior of the vehicle was completely covered in debris, dirt, mud, dust. The windows were down on the vehicle, and it was undetermined how long they had been like that, but based upon the appearance of the interior of the vehicle, it appeared that it had been quite some time that the vehicle was exposed to the elements.
Okay, so the windows had been down for quite some time. Or did,
Presumably judging by the debris and by the state of the interior of the vehicle. Yes, that's correct.
all right, I'll pass the witness.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Is it Mr. Arturo or is it Investigator Arturo?
Either or.
Okay. I'm Jason Garahan. I'm a prosecutor, one of the prosecutors in this case. You know, since you were just talking about the EDR, the event data recorder, are you trained in extracting that from vehicles?
That there's not particularly a training required to have access to the vehicle, just a license provided by the company.
Well, I mean,
You pay for a software subscription.
so you pay for a software subscription, and do you have a certain device, or is it just for your computer you hook up to the car?
It's a standalone device
Right.
that plugs into the board.
Right. And so, and is that something that, are you aware of that if the battery's connected? That, are you saying that if the battery's disconnected, it's not going to keep that information? Or are you aware of it?
I am not aware of that. I just know that if the vehicle does have power and you are able to get the vehicle to power out prior to the ignition turning, that information is accessible to the court.
Did you check to see if the battery was connected to this vehicle?
I guess we did.
Was the battery connected?
The battery was connected to the vehicle.
So are you aware that if the battery's connected, the EDR would continually record and ends up recording over previous events? Are you aware of that?
No, sir.
Okay. So going back, you were hired by the defense, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And when you started investigating this case, was it in 24, 2025?
I believe it started in 2024.
2024. So to be fair, it's sometime after the event that happened on May 22nd, 2022.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So it's roughly 2 years, give or take. We'll do a guesstimate, right, of about 2024, sometime in that year.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, so roughly 2 years later. And you said you'd had some previous experiences as, you never were a VCSO deputy, but you were reserve, is that right?
That's correct.
And then you were not a deputy at Elmendorf, but you were reserve.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And is that means you're called in when it's needed, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And then you said you worked for a private firm, and that private firm, was that private firm Cornerstone Church?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And you said you've been affiliated with this church your whole life?
Just about.
Just about, well, okay. And so, well, if you're affiliated with that church, is there a reason that you left?
Why I left the church?
Yeah, well, not the church, but your job there.
As a security officer?
Yes, sir. Because you were a supervisor at some point, right?
At some point.
And then you were not a supervisor any longer at one point, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then after you were, in a sense, demoted, then you left that location, is that right?
I chose to pursue a different career point at that
Okay.
time, but that's correct.
But to be fair, that's 2018, and that's when you just started becoming a private investigator, is that right?
That is correct.
And you had to get licensed for that in 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, in particular to this case, you've worked on many cases, you've stated before. Now, you were hired by the defense in 2024, and then you reviewed some of the evidence associated with this case. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
And I think that some of the stuff you reviewed is, you said you reviewed that church video,
Yes, sir.
okay? And you looked at Officer Jaime's statement,
That is correct.
and that, you actually know Officer Jaime's, don't you?
I did.
You actually worked with him at Cornerstone, didn't you?
I did.
And you actually supervised him at one point there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then he was there, then at one point he left because he was an SAPD officer that, in a sense, worked a side job for the church. Is that right?
At the time that I left the church, he was still a full-time employee of the church.
Okay.
His departure from Cornerstone happened after mine.
Okay.
Judge, I'm gonna object to the relevance of this line of questioning.
Relevancy?
Well, Your Honor, I mean, the investigator that knows the officer, I think that's pretty relevant that he actually knows the victim in the case.
All right, that'll be sustained. I'm sorry, that will be overruled.
Thank you, Jim. You reviewed his statement, you reviewed the dash cam of the patrol vehicle, and you looked at the white Nissan that you testified to earlier. You looked at other reports associated with the case, is that right?
That is correct.
I'm assuming you probably looked at photographs,
Yes, sir.
and, well, you did an investigation in the sense of just perusing like anybody else could go through the material, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then defense, I guess, in a sense, asked you to do what you did with the video and your own photographs.
Yes, sir.
And I think the word that was used, staging vehicles in this parking lot, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Why did you do it during the daylight?
Just to give a brighter, more vivid display of what that scene would look like under more optimal, I guess, viewing conditions.
I guess to be fair, I mean, you saw the church video and you saw the photos from that night and you knew it happened at 2 a.m. in the morning. I mean, why didn't you do it at nighttime? I mean, that would show a more fair and accurate picture of what is actually happening that night. Is that right? Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is.
Okay. But you just chose to do it during the daylight.
There was some footage and some pictures that were taken at night. And then there were also pictures that were taken during the daytime.
But everything that came in right now by defense it's all from the daylight and the videos from the daylight. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And let me ask you this, the staging of these vehicles, and again, I think it was even used during your direct testimony that you're guessing at where those cars are supposed to be, right?
Where I placed the vehicles was based upon image provided within the discovery.
And tell the jury what those images are then.
The footage from the dash cam of the SAPD vehicle, the surveillance footage, and the surveillance footage captured by the church.
Okay, so again, you're guessing where you're putting those, staging these vehicles in the parking lot. Is that accurate to say?
Yes, that is.
I mean, because you can't tell the jury right now that F-150 is exactly where that patrol vehicle was, because you really don't know where that patrol vehicle was, do you?
The exact specifics, no, sir.
Right. And so that F-150 could be further back.
It is possible, but it's not impossible.
Because you're judging it on that tree, right?
From that is correct, and also from the fact that in the surveillance footage you don't see the front end of the vehicle, so that gives us a point of knowing that the police vehicle was beyond that point, and then using the tree as well as also positioning of the light poles from the perspective of the dash cam to the perspective of where the pictures were taken to determine a rough estimate of where the vehicle was located.
A rough estimate is a guess. Is that
Yes, it is.
okay? And so how many measurements did you take that were accurate? Like, did you use the SAPD sketch that they made in this case?
No, sir.
Where they had all the shell casings measured out from a very specific location, the A axis and B axis? Did you use that sketch to recreate the scene?
No, sir.
Why is that?
The metrics that we use to recreate or to attempt to recreate as close as accurately as we could, the positioning of the vehicles was based on the majority of just the surveillance footage and the dash cam footage of the vehicle.
And you also, these photos and this video is all from March of 2025.
I believe so, yes, sir.
Do you believe so, or is that accurate to say?
It's-
Okay, thank you. Are you a trained crime scene recreator?
No, sir.
And there are certain people that are trained for that, right?
Yes, sir.
That can recreate a crime scene, right?
That's right.
And they're trained to do that, and you're not.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll pass witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Otero, I know that, there was some discussion of shell casings, correct?
That is correct.
Are shell casings always an accurate predictor of where a shot was fired from? The
Yeah.
position where the gunshot was fired?
I'm just gonna object to, one, this individual is not qualified as any type of expert in that field.
All right, no foundation has been laid. The objection will be sustained.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
And counsel asked you if you took any photos of that, is that correct?
That is so.
Okay, now defendant's exhibit 139, you recognize this photo?
I did.
Did you take this photo?
I did.
Okay, and now what are we seeing in this photo?
This is a photo taken from O'Connor Road. Just at the entrance of the church parking lot,
Okay,
the left turn into the church parking lot.
and is there a vehicle that is placed at the top of that hill as well?
Yes, there is.
Okay. What type of a vehicle was this? Was this also the same Ford F-150 or was this a different vehicle?
This is a different vehicle.
Okay, what kind of a vehicle was it?
In this picture, the vehicle that is staged at the top of the hill is the Chevy Traverse.
Okay, and what vehicle are you driving then?
I believe in this picture, I'm driving a 2011 Mercury Grand Marquis.
Okay, and does it appear that the lights at the church are on in this picture?
Yes, they are.
Is this an accurate picture that you took?
Yes, it is.
Okay, at this point, I would tender, defendant's exhibit 139 of the statement offered evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Defense's 139 is admitted without objection.
And now you actually took a video at night as well, is that correct?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay, and that was on a different date from when that photo was taken, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and when you took the video, the lights at the church were all out, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and so we determined that it wasn't the substantially similar conditions to when the lights were on, is that
Yeah,
correct?
I'm just gonna object to, leading.
Sustained.
Okay, were the conditions, based on what you reviewed, similar, to those at the time of the incident?
No, they're not.
Why is that?
When we took the video of the church parking lot, the lights in the parking lot were off instead of being on.
Okay, and can you describe the lighting on O'Connor Road when you're approaching the church at night?
Sure. That particular section of O'Connor Road is very dark. There's no lighting on I believe there's no lighting on the right side of the street. And the left side, it's just provided by some utility lights and then the lights from each property along O'Connor as you drive past it.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
Any
Hey,
questions?
Just briefly, Your Honor, and defense exhibit number 139, you can see a vehicle at the top of that hill. That's reversed,
Sure, I just saw that.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
and that's at nighttime,
That is it.
and relatively similar, the lights are on in the parking lot. The lights are on in that parking lot?
Yes, they are.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
And in defendant's exhibit 139, you're taking a picture and you're conscious of the car at the top of the hill, correct?
That is correct.
You're trying to get that vehicle in the picture.
That's correct.
Okay, so your conscious objective is to make sure that that vehicle's in there and you're aware of that vehicle from before when you're taking that picture.
Yes, it is.
All right, I'll pass witness.
Any further questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Is this witness excused?
By the state, Your Honor.
Defense as well, Judge.
All right, you may step down. If you'll make sure you leave the microphone there, please. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Defense, call your next witness.
Defense rests.
All right, state, any rebuttal?
We close, Your Honor.
Defense, do you close?
Defense rests and close.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be closing arguments from both sides tomorrow at 9 a.m. The jury room is going to have the same number of jurors that were called up previously. So you'll need to probably get here by 8:30 to be ensured a parking space. And